It appears that UFC featherweight champion Ilia Topuria's days at 145 pounds are done. He's going to be moving up to 155. This from Topuria himself, and also in a recent interview that his coach did with Dennis from Submission Radio, which, by the way, if you guys aren't subscribed to Submission Radio, go check them out. Best interviews in the game, in my opinion. And it's honestly a travesty that these guys don't get nominated, or Dennis doesn't get nominated for Journalists of the Year. They put the best interviews out, out there, in my opinion. They do an awesome job. Anyways, we're going to watch this clip here. It's with Ilia's coach, George Clement. Hope I'm saying that right. Saying that he will not be defending his belt and moving up. And then I'm going to give my thoughts on this whole thing because there's a lot of stuff to unpack. But first, let's watch this clip here with his coach.
Saying there's a chance that he might fight for the lightweight title, but not defend the featherweight title again. He might vacate the belt.
I don't think he's going to defend the featherweight title. I think he wants to go to the lightweight title. I don't think they give the opportunity to fight directly for the belt, but he wants to fight with the ranked guys to come for the belt.
So that means no fight with Alex Volkanovski next? No Alex Volkanovski next?
Yeah, if Alex fight in featherweight, I don't think so.
Saying there's a chance.
Okay. Yeah, so that's interesting. So he will not be defending against Volk. I got some thoughts on that, but let's watch this other clip, which explains why he's moving up. According to his coach, he's having weight cut issues. And I should mention that he did have weight cut issues earlier in his career. If you remember, he was, I think, supposed to fight Charles Jourdain or one of these guys. It was either the Jourdain fight or Arnold Allen. Can't remember off the top of my... Actually, why don't I just go look it up, James, instead of just spitballing here? Yeah, it was the Jourdain fight, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, weight cut issues in the Jourdain fight back in 2022. We really haven't seen that from him, though, lately. Like, you look at all the fights after, he's made weight. I don't think he's had any weight cut problems. He's not like a huge guy for the weight class. But, yeah, anyways, here's what his coach has to say about the weight cut issues.
I think he hate cut weight, He do it a lot of times, and it's very hard there. Every time we do it, he don't want to do this anymore, and that's why I want to go up to the next weight class. His normal weight is in that weight class. In him, Ilia fighting 61, and he's young, and your body is changing. When you have 20, you have a body. When you have 25, you have another, and when you are 30, you have another, Sometimes I see Ilia in 85 kilos, and he needs to be 66. We do very big.
Okay, so what's interesting in this clip is he says that Ilia doesn't want to cut to 155, and I'm sure he does cut a lot of weight, but it doesn't mention anything about like, oh yeah, his body's breaking down or there's huge issues. Like, I hate to say it, but this isn't really a great excuse for him to move up at this point. So a couple things. The title of this video is Ilia Topuria moving up a weight class is a bad idea. Not because I don't think he can win any fights up there. In fact, I think if he did fight Charles Oliveira with his knockout power, I think he probably could knock out Charles Oliveira. But I just think the timing now is terrible. This is a guy that, let's be honest here, really captured the attention of the UFC this year. He became a borderline superstar. I mean, you could even call him a superstar, although it's really hard to say the word superstar. But I mean, Topuria had Conor McGregor aura this year. I mean, you don't just walk onto the field for Real Madrid and get all this attention, if you're any other UFC fighter. Topuria certainly has captivated a big audience here and is certainly... really become a fan favorite after, his two performances, the wins over Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria. I just think the timing sucks. And here's the thing. You got to give Volk the opportunity to fight for the title again. And people may disagree on this, but I'm very adamant about if you've been a champion for a long time, which Volk has, if you've been a serviceable member to the UFC, not only defending your featherweight title, but also moving up to 155 on short notice and fighting Islam Makhachev, you're doing the company a favor there. In return, Volk should be getting the title shot next. I know that hasn't been confirmed yet, but Volk should be fighting for the title. I don't care if you think he's going to lose to Topuria. I would probably pick Topuria in that fight as well, but it's the fact that Volk has done so much service. So what kind of annoys me about this is not only has Topuria only had one title defense, but Volk kind of did Ilia a favor taking that fight earlier this year when Volk could have, as a champion, honestly, let's think about this for a second. Volk as a champion could have been like, you know what? I just got knocked out by Islam late last year. I'm not going to fight until the summer. He could have easily done that. But what did he do instead? Volk's a company man. He's one of these guys that wants to be, a fan favorite. He got back in there. Did he come back in a bit too soon? I think there's an argument for that, considering he got knocked out again. When you get knocked out one time, you come back too soon, it can affect the performance in the fight. I'm not saying that Volk wouldn't have not got knocked out by Ilia, but what I'm saying is it certainly didn't help the situation with him fighting Ilia so early. So in a lot of ways, Volk did Ilia a favor by even taking that fight. And again, I think the least Topuria could do for giving him that opportunity is allowing him to have the rematch. Like, again, I don't hear anything from his coach in here saying that Ilia is having like serious health issues making the weight. Look at Max Holloway. I'd say if anyone's had bad weight cuts and should be moving up, it's Max Holloway. You can visibly see that he cuts a ton of weight, and he's had a couple issues in his career, Max Holloway, that is, at making 145. And I would be pretty surprised if Holloway has his next fight at 145. I think he is going to move to lightweight as well. So yeah, I just think I just think this is bad timing for Ilia Topuria. I mean, this is a guy who has a chance to go down as one of the best fighters in UFC history in terms of what he's done already. And if he fights Volk, I think he wins. So why wouldn't you take that fight? I think it's going to be much harder if you move up to a different weight class and expect the same results against fighters that are much bigger than him. So that's the other thing. And then, we like I said, like I think right now with what Ilia is able to do at 145, I think he can knock out pretty much anyone in the weight class. I hear some rumblings about people saying, oh, he's afraid of Ivoyev, that's why he's moving up. I don't think it's that. Yes, is Ivoyev a tough stylistic matchup? Absolutely. Topuria's got a good ground game, though. People actually forget that Topuria has more submission wins than knockouts in his career. His stand-up has only come along in the last couple of years. He would have 5 rounds to knock out Movsar Ivoyev. I'd take those chances, So this idea that he's afraid of Ivoyev, that's why he's moving up. Or, Diego Lopez, always worried about him. I would pick Topuria in that fight too. What I'm getting at is that Topuria has an opportunity here to fight other contenders that are waiting in the wings at 145. If he wins those fights, then we can talk about him moving up. But there's no reason right now for him to move up if he doesn't have any serious health issues. To me, like, I understand that Topuria, wants to retire by 30 and fast track. And look, I would love to see him and Islam. I think that fight is extremely intriguing. But Islam's got some work to do at 155. He's got the Arman fight. You've got some other matchups potentially for him. I still think Charles Oliveira deserves a rematch against Islam at some point as well. So, I just think, again, I don't mind Topuria having these ambitions. I just think you're doing one title defense and you're going to move up. Like, that's tough. And I think, again, Topuria is going to lose some fans for doing this. And he's also going to, as a result, not do what's right with Volk. I think Volk deserves that rematch. And I don't think Volk wins, but I think he at least deserves that opportunity to fight for the rematch, considering what he's done in the UFC. So that's kind of where I stand on everything, is that I think right now, I think this is a bit of a mistake. If he fought Charles Oliveira, is Oliveira even going to take that fight? You got to think about this as well. Oliveira right now should fight the winner of Islam and Arman, I think. I think even if Arman wins, you could do that rematch now. It doesn't matter. That fight that they had earlier this year was close. Is Charles going to want to fight Ilia? What does he get out of fighting Ilia? Other than fighting a big name and having a fun stylistic matchup, Oliveira right now potentially could be fighting for a title next. What would you rather have? Title fight or fight a champion in a different division that the belt isn't even going to be on the line? So my take on this whole thing is Topuria should just tough it out, fight Volk, maybe get one more title defense and then move up. I still think he can hit his retirement by 30 plan, but in my opinion, Topuria's got more work to do as champion at 145. And I think the fans are not, I think there'll be some fans that like this, that are like, yeah, go for gold. But I think there's going to be some fans as well that are like, man, you got more work to do at 145. And if he wants to go down as one of the best featherweights of all time, you have to defend your title a few more times than just once. I think this is just a bad look optically, and that's why I think it's a bad idea. And I want to be clear about this again, because there's going to be people twisting the words in the title. I'm not saying that Topuria can't win fights at 155. What I am saying is that I think that right now the timing isn't great. When you've got a couple winnable fights, in my opinion, for you at 145, just tough it out, cut the weight, get a couple title defenses, and then you can move up. But this idea that, champions just win the belt and then they get to move up, I don't like that precedent at all. And I hope that it sounds like this is going to happen, but in my opinion, I just think it's setting a bad precedent for other fighters. Otherwise, we're going to get tons of divisions held up. And by the way, if Topuria does end up moving up, vacate the title, Volk, Diego Lopez, problem solved. That's how they could fix this. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you agree with Topuria wanting to move up right now? Do you think he should stay and defend his title? How do you think he'd do against Charles Oliveira? Do you think Oliveira takes that fight? What are your thoughts on this whole situation? Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.